Raymond. Together, we've watched and dissected the first 8 movies of the Godzilla franchise, beginning with the OG Godzilla in 54 and our last watch, Son of Godzilla from 67. So it's fair to say we've gone on a bit of a journey with Godzilla thus far, doing our best to understand this man. But here's my question to you. What is it that connects all of the 8 movies that we've watched together?
What connects all 8 of these movies, aside from Godzilla?
Aside from the G-Man.
Can it be the deepening line of friendship that we've established throughout them?
They are all, in fact, Japanese language movies. All right, let's do this. All right, welcome everybody to this diversion from regular kaiju content as we take an atomic breath to discuss our thoughts and feelings surrounding the first 8 Godzilla movies in the franchise so far. In a slight role reversal, me, Sam, I'll be leading us through this pit stop, but I am of course joined by our courageous kaiju co-host, head G-Man, king of the monsters, Raymond.
Oh my God.
How are you, Raymond?
Well, you're far too kind, and also kind for taking over hosting duties for this little interim episode. Thank you.
My pleasure. Absolutely my pleasure.
How are you feeling about this? Are you nervous?
Oh no, I'm looking forward to this. This will be a nice way to just kind of reminisce about some of the glory moments, some of the more hilarious moments, and there's going to be some poignancy as well, some poignant moments in this, so kind of chat.
Oh,
a
great.
nice relaxed chat, right? No pressure on today.
A proper retrospective. I mean, I'm looking forward to kicking my feet up.
Please do. So up top, I spoke briefly about the journey we've been on.
Yeah.
Starting with the original black and white Godzilla, for our most recent watch, right?
Yeah, man. Son of Godzilla.
I'm going to turn the tables on you, Raymond.
Okay.
So could you do your best to make an elevator pitch describing the journey we've been
No.
on this series of movies as best you can?
Oh, God. An elevator pitch for us, for this show?
First 8 movies.
For the first 8 movies. Okay. There was once a bad hombre named Big G, and he rolled into town looking to kick up some trouble. Town didn't take too kindly to him. They kicked him back out, not once but twice. Maybe killed him on the way. Then somewhere down the line, he met a few friends that helped him sort of recalibrate. A giant monkey, a giant moth, a giant pterodon. With those friends, much like you and myself, he learned a little more about himself and decided to take his bad hombre-ness, turn it around, and become a guardian. Not just of the planet, but also of a darling baby boy, a naughty prince.
I'd say ding, ding, ding. I think you've made the ground floor on that one, Raymond.
Sweet Jesus.
Yeah, it's not fun, is it?
I'm in a cold sweat.
Yeah, understandably. But it's good you said that, because really the first discussion topic was to kind of talk about how the tone of the movie has changed.
The series, yeah.
Because you do kind of start with this existential dread. Hugely, right? And then we finished with the pratfalls of parenthood of Godzilla.
Definitely in a slapsticky place now, yeah.
Yeah, slapstick's a great way to describe it. And I think that's been to its benefit in some regards, in that it's always been fresh and somewhat unexpected. How about you? How do you feel about the tone shift in the movies? So quickly as well. It feels quickly to us. We are talking over the space of, I guess, 13 years for the Japanese audience.
Even have this up here, 54 to, I think we're at 67. So yeah, 13 years. Gosh, it's a wild trajectory, man. We do start with that existential dread. We have a quick throwdown. Then we get really colorful with King Kong and Mothra vs. Godzilla. And then I believe we both could agree we get to a high point, which is even a turn away from the colorful, cartoonish nature of 3 and 4 with Ghidorah. That's number 5.
I'd agree that's the high point so far.
Yeah, it's a high point. It's a return to the seriousness in a way. I mean, there's still some goofy elements. Can't, lest we forget those. But the first half of that movie is quite serious. And then 6 and 7, kind of goofy. 8, pretty dang goofy. But then the ending The ending of 8.
That takes us back.
That's something. The end of Son of Godzilla. Totally unexpected.
That's a good point to make. Still a bit of seriousness left
in the tank there. Yeah, it's a bit of a roller coaster ride, isn't it?
We're kind of dancing around the seriousness of the first one, but
yeah,
like to its benefit, it's kept me interested. You do kind of wonder what you're watching sometimes, the goofiness of it.
Yeah.
Where we're kind of going. And that's the exciting part. It's just like, how do you build up on this incredibly insane journey we've been so far? I think for me, when you watch the first movie, and to a certain extent the second one, kind of watching it for the vibe, the energy, point they're trying to make. Now I'm watching it more for a spectacle. There's spectacle in all of them.
Yeah.
The first one included.
For sure.
Now it's more, all right, what is the silliest thing that I'm possibly going to see today? Which I didn't imagine I'd be waking up and watching that day or whatever. Although you make a good point with the end of our most recent one, Son of Godzilla.
Well, yeah, we're at a point in the franchise maybe where we are just expecting the unexpected. I don't know that it's ever going to get more ridiculous than this batch here. Like the Showa era, I think it's pretty typified by just how goofy things can get. We're not going to completely lose all of that in the subsequent eras, but we'll lose some of it, and it will be replaced by some self-seriousness and maybe even a return to some of the darker stuff. But that's a ways away, man. We've got,
that's a ways away.
Yeah, we're talking like 8-9 movies down the line.
Right on. How about some favorite moments that stick out for you throughout the 8 movies?
Oh, okay. Wow. So I guess I would start with Ghidorah and Princess Maas's introduction scene in the park when she's giving a speech as the Mad Prophetess.
I was really hoping you meant when she just walks off a plane.
That certainly has its own merits, that scene, for sure.
But now I can picture it. It's kind of high up. Yep.
Yeah, it's above her head. It's from behind. It's a very cinematic moment in a series that, had maybe up to that point kind of lost some of the cinematic quality in exchange for goofiness. So I'll start there. I'll start with something serious. I just loved it. That just shows how flexible the series is.
We definitely spoke about that scene when we discussed that movie. And it's a shame that we so quickly kind of went away from that. But I suppose sometimes it's nice to have those refreshing moments. So it does allow us to appreciate the cinematography a lot more.
Yeah, I think we're going to genuinely get some more of that later.
My first one is, I guess, also more serious than the goofy ones are going to come.
I know one of yours is Kong and some balloons.
My second bullet point is, honestly, King Kong fight and balloons. So you've nailed that one.
Fuck yeah.
So I have to eat my supper before I get dessert, right? So I'm going to...
eat those veggies.
Coming from Godzilla 1, which we always kind of dance around as being...
It's because it's too legendary. It's too important.
Yeah.
Us two schmoes, we shouldn't even be sullying it with our
ignorance.
Garbage opinions, yeah.
But from that one, I chose, I believe it's when Godzilla's arrived at Tokyo, and it's just a close-up of a mother huddling by it. It looks like just some kind of civic building with their son. All they can do is shelter each other as this world destroyer approaches them. It's a pretty meaningful moment, and I may have spoken about it when we did this first episode on this, about how it may have been so meaningful for a lot of people in the audience who may have known people who were caught out. Yeah. When these atomic bombs or just bombs in general were coming down, and you could apply it just to Japan, but to a lot of people who went through, who still go through these kind of moments of war. And I think Godzilla does a great job of representing destruction,
sudden and uncontrollable destruction.
Yeah, but I think that rather than the crowd screaming and running around, I felt like that moment encapsulated that fear and helplessness and vulnerability. You know what my second one is, so I'll let you go first.
All right. Well, then I'll do a quick one. I haven't pre-planned my answers here. I'm going to think of them off the cuff, but this one will break the fourth wall a little bit, both in the movie and outside of the movie, seeing your bewilderment at the giant condor attack.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
In Impera Horror of the Deep was something that gave me a lot of joy.
Yeah. Still to this day, just seeing that condor come out of nowhere, screeching, just beelining towards Godzilla. And then I think it only ramps up from there because, as seems to be customary.
It's such a frenzied scene.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. It's customary for any flying kaiju that's fighting Godzilla. It gets crazy real fast with the kind of sounds and camera shaking and cuts between kaijus. It's a real frenetic energy. Yeah, good choice. That was insane.
Yeah, man. Since I was a kid, and this has carried over into any fandom that I sort of dip my toes into. I love an obscure character.
Sure.
And so with the kaiju, man, give me the mysterious bones of Infinite Island. Give me the giant condor, the giant octopus. I love these minor player kaiju, man.
I think they're fun. I think they build the world. And I think I also like it when you're left with more questions than answers.
Yes.
It's like, who the heck is that? And especially with the bones of Infinite Island. I remember watching it. It's like, I need to ask Raymond if he saw those bones move, or if I'm
on crazy pills. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I also like it when, you're kind of left with more questions than answers. I think the octopus was precursors, the bones, right? And the condor, of course. So I didn't have so many questions with the octopus. I think I just kind of took it for granted that, okay, this happens. But certainly the bones and the condor, I felt confident enough to be confused by their arrival. I'm glad the bones got a mention, because I'm not sure I've made time for the bones.
Condor's bones. I'll keep waving that flag.
Please. But yeah, focusing on flying kaiju, the scene...
Give it to me.
Yeah, and I wrote King Kong fight and balloons. I guess I want to focus on the balloons. The fight is fantastic. It's the best fight. I mean, it's the first fight, isn't it, really? Because until then, we just had military...
No, we have Anguirus.
Yeah,
don't do Anguirus dirty like that.
Don't worry, Anguirus will get a mention. I apologize, Anguirus. A very sustained fight, very novel fight.
Yep, there's a lot of weird stuff in that fight. That's great.
Absolutely. But yeah, the flight is iconic. So if we can't recall, I believe he drinks a lot of red potion, which is the sleepy potion for King Kong. And then the military.
They roofied him.
Yeah, they roofied him, yeah. And very surprisingly for the military, they're actually quite successful and effective in this movie, briefly, by tying King Kong's limbs up with weather balloons, I believe. You have King Kong's kind of arms at different heights and angles, his legs, most notably at different lengths and angles.
Yeah.
And it is a sight to behold to watch this humongous primate just fly through the sky on a set of 4 balloons. He looks very funny. He looks very vulnerable. I don't know when they made the movie if that's the look they were going for, but it's a hilarious, iconic moment. And I think it really helped set up my kind of interest in the rest of these movies. Like, King Kong it's easily my favorite interpretation of King Kong. I'm not a huge King Kong fan.
Same here.
I don't know what it is. It just never really kind of struck a chord with me, but they made King Kong really enjoyable, and they've matched it with a lot of other energies. So I think it did a really good job of kind of setting me up for, this is the kind of Godzilla I want, just insanity. And you have any other favorite moments?
Yeah, I'll throw one more. I guess when this is a common complaint across most of the movies, maybe more so among casual audiences rather than the super deep dive nerds like ourselves. But that complaint is typically that there are no good human characters in the Godzilla franchise, or we just don't care about the human stories and we just want to see the monsters fight. So I want to shout out all the great human characters that we've seen over the last 8 movies. Our Kobayashis, our Dr. Sekizawas, our Goros, our Dios, our Miss Namikawas, our Glens.
Dr. Yamane stands out to me.
Dr. Yamane.
Yamane, sorry. Yep.
The sleepwalking, somnambulist portrayal as a princess from Ghidorah. That was pretty silly.
Yeah.
Mr. Taco.
Oh, wow. Yeah, Mr. Taco. Bless.
All these great humans we've met along the way that I could not have expected actually liking. Cheers to all of them.
So quickly to wrap up my favorite one, I made a bullet point for Kobayashi, but he'll get his moment as well later on. My final one, and it won't surprise you again, coming from Ghidorah, is Mothra's call to action to Rodan and Godzilla. Mothra's kind of the arbiter and trying to convince them to join the fight against Ghidorah.
Yeah, man.
It's the first time I think kaijus are directly communicating with each other.
Yeah.
And it comes out in a very goofy, petulant way for the most part between Rodan and Godzilla. Because I think at this point they've had the first ever tennis rallying competition, and Godzilla's demanding an apology, and Rodan wants an apology, and Godzilla won't do it unless they apologize first.
Yeah, we learned that their inner lives of these giant titanic beasts are basically grade schoolers.
Yeah, they're just doing it, standing there, and we get to watch it. with Mothra like on a mound, which is a hilarious tableau in itself. So yeah, that stood out for sure. That was a big winner for me, unsurprisingly.
That's a great one.
So you can understand why I had to bring up that first example from the first movie before I could talk about balloons and these monsters talking to each other. Yeah, moving on, like these movies, right? They cover a lot of repeated set of themes, but they revolve around three groups. You have humans, you have kaijus. We get aliens, and we get baby kaijus. Yep. But focusing on humans, I'd like for us to speak about some of those plot lines, some of those trios that you referred to earlier there in your favorite moments. But before we do that, there is a persistent elephant in the room that I would like us to address, and that is Mr. Akira Takarada.
Okay.
What I'm going to do, I'm going to outline all of Akira Takarada's characters. And I'm going to be honest with you, he was in more than I realized. So I'm going to outline his characters. All you have to do is kind of reveal the ones that stood out to you for better or worse. You don't have to necessarily go into great detail.
Yikes. Okay.
Beginning in Godzilla 1 as our lead, Hideo Ogata, who also has a cameo in the second movie. This is the kind of stoic Coast Guard officer, sailor. I had no idea.
That was him?
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you told me when we did the thing that his name's Akira Takarada, but I had no idea he was the following lead male actor. Aesthetically, just didn't look the same to me.
Well, there's a lot in that first movie that we're establishing literally everything. So I guess his whole act, we could maybe call it a shtick, probably hadn't generated yet or hadn't fully formed by that point. Probably not until I'm struggling to even think of the first movie I even was clocking him in the main character role every time. Maybe King Kong, maybe Mothra, something like that. But no, I didn't know. I can barely remember the main character from the first Godzilla film. Godzilla is probably what stands out the most there. But
for sure. So any thoughts on Hideo Ogata, his character?
Couldn't make it to the Budapest Orchestra.
That's it.
I remember that much.
That was going to be my line. Yep, nailed it. Following Godzilla 1 and his cameo number 2, he plays Ichiro Sakai, the journalist in Mothra vs. Godzilla, but he also plays our pitch hitter pharmaceutical rep in King Kong vs. Godzilla, and the serious detective officer in Ghidorah, the three-headed monster.
Yeah. Interesting that you'd package all three of those like that. I think they sort of are a package deal in my head of roles that are just competently played. They don't stick out in my head that much either. I guess his role in Ghidorah as the police officer, I guess in King Kong as well. He's got a lot of screen time. I don't remember much of him from Mothra, to be honest. There's too many other great elements in that film that are vying for our attention and our memory, like the dawn of the Shobijin, I suppose.
He stands out in those movies, I think, because you pick up that it's the same actor every time.
Right, we're starting to recognize him.
He's allowed to be a character. I think in the first movie, he's just a very serious young man. His backstory isn't all that relevant, his job or what have you. But now they all kind of play a certain role. With Mothra, Mothra is the one where he is a bit of an asshole. He speaks down to his female colleague,
his photographer.
Yeah, the photographer, absolutely. And I wasn't too tired of him then. I thought he did that job quite competently, but it does get followed up with his next role where he plays, and this is the title or the name, Astronaut Fuji.
Oh, Fuji. Yeah. This is where I think fatigue was setting in for us. Fuji's a man I love to hate, I think. Mm-hmm. I was getting a little annoyed at Fuji, and I guess Takarada's performance, I don't know. Maybe it was intentional. Yeah. Just not a likable dude, Fuji. Pretty archetypical to his sister.
Yeah, I think also, maybe it was fatigue in general, because he's getting that reaction from us. He's doing something right, whether in the acting or the screenwriting. But he's not done quite yet. He's got one more in him when he plays the wily thief Ryota Yashimura in Ibira, Horror from the Deep.
So now I'm fully expecting us to have differing opinions here. I loved Yoshimura. I thought he was great And I've said this a few times on the show already, but when Toho leaned into him being a dirtbag scoundrel, just let him do his thing, it's much more likable. I guess he's not being a sexist prick too much in that film.
No.
He's more just chumming around with the other boys on the island, and Dio just happens to be along.
You're kind of right. There's not much I loved about that movie. And there were so many times in that movie I was like, well, that's stupid. That would never happen. And all of a sudden, and there's a giant lobster coming out of the water, and so I should be able to put those things aside. I found his character to be really inconsistent or very malleable to whatever the script needed. The first moment is there on the screen is he has a gun pointed at 3 young men who have broken into what we believe is his ship, and then he's like, yeah, just chill out, feel free to sleep. Couldn't get into it, him or the movie. Anyhow, to Mr. Takarada's, I'm sure, relief, he does get a day off for Son of Zilla.
Not from Toho.
Not from. Oh, that's right. He's
making King Kong
escapes. So here's to you, Mr. Takarada. He's been on this journey with us just as much.
He really has. I look forward to seeing him more in the future.
Broadening out from Takarada, any other human character plot lines, trios?
Yeah, the Holy Trinity.
Yeah, do you have a favorite trio?
Well, now that we're commenting or thinking about the trio in general, have we taken a break from the trio with the 2 Fukuda movies?
I mean, yeah, we had the scientists.
That was a big old gang.
It was a big old gang focusing primarily on the most intrepid freelance journalist that Japan has ever created.
He follows his stomach.
Yeah, that's right, and the castaway. But yeah, Godzilla and his son are just as much the kind of protagonists there.
You could argue maybe it's Goro, Seiko, and the professor. But Abira, Horror of the Deep had...
Yeah, 3 men and a lady. Four men. Yeah, 4 men and a lady.
4 fellas and Dio. So who knows? Okay, so a trio. Ooh, I think Mothra vs. Godzilla was where I was really thinking, yeah, this is like a staple of Toho movies now. Again, we've taken a break since, but at that point, like, it's pretty set in stone. From what I remember, we get the trio pretty early in that film as well. I think it's Naoko and
yeah, very quickly
Takarada's character, and then another professor, probably. That trio was fun enough. What about you?
I leaned into the Ghidorah trio because it was quite a variety. You say it's a variety, it's pretty much in the same notes we see a few times. We have the detective played by Takarada.
Well, he's our only lawman.
Yeah, like government authority figure.
Right.
He's joined by his sister, who is a scientist. No, sorry, she's the journalist. And then they're joined by Professor Miura.
Oh, yeah, because back to back with Mothra, there's a Moira, something sort of going on. Okay.
And again, to my absolute discredit, when I looked up this trio and looked into Professor Miura, it was only then that I realized that he was the lead, and I use that word very, very mildly, in Godzilla Raids Again. The character Shoichi Kyoka?
Really?
I say he's the lead because we all know Kobayashi is the lead, or Godzilla. But again, I didn't make the connection whatsoever. But I really enjoyed the kind of brother-sister aspect of that trio, especially when they're just hanging out with their mum at home.
Oh, that was so nice, yeah.
Really well written, well acted. Great segue for the show. Is it Where Are They Now?
Where are they now? Yes.
Yeah. But the interplay between the family members, brilliant, honestly. Like, the most legitimate writing, acting. Well, I mean, maybe that's a bit much, but it came across really well.
It absolutely did. Yeah, man. And just looking back on that and thinking about it makes me sort of hungry for more Ishiro Honda stuff.
Yeah, the kind of the transition between the scenes.
Exactly that. Some more creative directorial work, but that's not to say that Fukuda has been completely disappointing or anything.
Beautiful. So that's the humans, put them aside. So for the kaiju, when I was first kind of trying to think of segments or a skeleton for this interim episode, I was originally considering doing like bracket competition, but then I was like, that's foolish. That's an episode in itself.
Yeah.
So I parked that bus for another day. But we should still talk about the kaiju, of course.
Yes, we hereby solemnly swear we will have a battle royale.
That's right. That's what it was going to be, basically.
At some point.
I'm not sure I can go through all the kaiju that we've met, but we have met an awful lot of kaiju. In our last movie, Son of Godzilla, we met 3 entirely new kaijus in that one movie alone, I want to say. But for you, Raymond, which one do you think had the biggest impact on you so far? And then following that, which is the least impactful?
All right, most and least impactful. I want to salute Godzilla, but this whole podcast is a monument to that. I mean, our friendship first and then Godzilla second.
I'll talk about him towards the end of this part. So you feel free to put him to the side as well.
Go elsewhere.
Yeah.
All right, then I gotta salute the queen, Mothra. She gets all the love from me that I never gave her in my past Godzilla fandom days. I sort of wrote her off as a background character, but God, I fully appreciate her beauty, what she brings to the series, the baggage that comes along with her, like Infant Island.
Oh, yeah.
And the Shobijin.
Yeah, she does bring a lot to the world, doesn't she?
She brings a whole corner of the universe.
That's fair.
In this series, unsurprisingly. And finally in, I guess, Abira, when we saw her flying in her Imago form, that was a breath-catching moment.
Yeah, now you say that was definitely my favorite moment from that.
Long live Mothra.
I would say for my biggest impact...
Yeah. Who is it?
I'm going to go with Ghidorah in presentation, in context, the kind of exposition they give on Ghidorah as this kind of world-destroying. The presentation, because they genuinely, in their first movie, come across as incredibly savage, uncontrollable, destructive, in a way that Godzilla does in a very slow, lumbering way sometimes. Ghidorah brings it far more energetically.
He's a man of action.
And this sounds a bit mean, but even in the early movies, Godzilla's face softens the blow of his destruction. He can sometimes come across as a bit goofy or playful or smiley.
Godzilla has become more derpy as the series has continued.
But his first time you see Godzilla, it's pretty derpy by our, 21st century, 2026 standards anyhow. So yeah, Ghidorah for the presentation, the power, the context. Okay. For sure.
The wildly waving necks.
Yeah, absolutely. Least impactful, which is a mean one. I mean, we don't have to necessarily pick on anyone, but...
Oh, I mean, I'll happily dump on the lizard of Faroe Island.
Poor lizard.
I mean, it's included on the Wikizilla list, so he's not big enough, so get out of here.
Get out of there.
You dumb lizard. That's mine. What about you?
Yeah, okay, so you've gone the safe option there.
Yep.
It would be a toss-up between Rodan and Angelus, and I think I'm being unfair to Angelus. Angelus was in that movie to get its ass kicked and then disappear, whereas Rodan has a bit more of a territory and stake in these franchises.
Yeah, multiple appearances.
Yeah, multiple appearances. Their presentation, the way they look, isn't particularly creative or iconic.
Okay.
The way it fights, it's always fun to watch Godzilla try and fight a flying creature. But I unfortunately, Rodan suffers from being similar to many other flying monsters. They all pretty much have the same attack of going for the head, pecking at the head, and then possibly also having the incredibly powerful wings, right? Mothra is capable of doing that just as well as Rodan. And yeah, I just didn't take to Rodan too well. I suppose the best moment for me with Rodan, I spoke about the kind of the petulant conversation with Godzilla, but I also in the same movie enjoyed watching Mothra fly on Rodan's back as they're attacking Ghidorah. But yeah, I'm going to give it to Rodan for those reasons. They're not useless, but I find you could change Rodan for any flying kaiju pretty much, and you'd get the same results.
I have a soft spot for the big guy, but I get it.
Yeah,
I get it.
With the G-Man, he goes on a bit of a journey.
Yep.
First couple movies, he's all about existential dread, death. Some reading into this, the idea of kind of post-Second World War Japanese anxiety. But it doesn't take too long for that anxiety to turn to kind of optimism and then kind of spectacle as Godzilla kind of joins the human side for the most part as a protector. And as we kind of talked about, he's doing the she dance. He's becoming a dad for the first time, I assume. Yeah, how do you feel about the journey Godzilla's been on?
Oh, quite a journey. It's weird because with a lot of other series, you might think this radical of a change in your, for lack of a better term, main character, like waffling around would probably be a bad thing. Here, it really works to its benefit, especially looking back on this series, on such an old series, seeing that Godzilla can wear so many different hats and be so many different things. It's a big strength of the character. It makes the series that much more watchable.
Yes, absolutely.
It's keeping us interested in that. We don't know we honestly don't know what we're going to get next time.
No, precisely.
Which Godzilla are we going to see? I love that. I love that sometimes, and he's a force for evil, sometimes a force for good, sometimes he's just nature.
Yeah. You basically said what I was going to say. If there is a Godzilla movie coming out this year, I'm not sure if there is or there isn't. That's...
Oh, yeah. Dude, there is. Yeah. The American machine is moving along, but there is a new Toho movie coming, I think, either end of this year or next year.
Right. So we're talking 72 years of Godzilla movies. That character can't stay the same. So it's entirely understandable that the changes happen. You're absolutely right. I can't imagine we would be having these chats if the first 8 movies were all very similar to the first and the second one.
Yeah.
Because how do you date that while keeping it interesting and compelling? Although I have been happily surprised by the kind of turns we've been taking with his character. Had you pre-assessed me on what we think is going to happen to Godzilla's character, I never would have guessed. Some of the actions he would be doing, the way he would be presented, I would have just described the Godzilla that you know from the first movie, I imagine. It's been surprising, sometimes questionable, then I kind of understand, no, this is fun. Godzilla's allowed to change, and so am I, and, get used to it.
Yeah, I can grow up too.
Yeah, or the reverse. I can, regress into a childish character.
There we go. Yeah.
How about the presentation of Godzilla, the way he's looked? You've pointed out regularly that they upgrade, update, or entirely change his suit.
Yes, we've gone through a lot of suit changes up to this point. I think I prefer a less goofy looking Godzilla. It's no surprise that he's become steadily goofier in this first half of the Showa era. Genuinely don't know how he will change in the second half of the Showa era.
He'll have a hat, maybe.
Maybe he'll have a hat.
Some character
a monocle. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
right.
I believe I like where he started a little more than where we are now. I'm going to keep crossing my fingers that he looks that his eyes become a little straighter, a little less googly goggly.
I must admit, that was going to be my first comment about the eyes. They get a bit closer, and I find the mouth as well seems to somewhat curve up.
It's losing
a bit
teeth,
of a smile.
Man. It's losing teeth.
Yeah. I must admit, unless you're watching these movies concurrently and closely together as we are, you might not actually pick up on the differences that keenly, but they are certainly there. It's definitely a softer presentation, a jollier presentation in the way they look. I think there's a slightly rounder belly for him to pat and rub, but I don't think I'm ever going to forget his first ever arrival as he's
popping up over that hill.
Yeah, popping up over the hill. I want to say it's on North Island. We get his neck and his head, and pretty sure I described it as like a rubber dog toy at the time. That's probably been quite well used.
Well worn, yeah.
Well worn, yeah, and not the most terrifying aspect of Godzilla you see in that movie, but iconic nonetheless. All right, cool. So it was a good chat about humans and kaijus. Not sure we mentioned the aliens yet, but okay, let's keep this train going. As you know, Raymond, we are currently in the midst of Oscar season.
Okay.
And in this poignant and penultimate segment, we are going to pay our respects to all the humans, kaijus, and aliens we've lost along the way.
Are we doing an in memoriam?
In our very own Godzilla in memoriam. Yes.
Okay.
I had the uniquely difficult task of listing as best I could, because I know I'm missing some of these, the characters who have sadly passed on in our first 8 movies.
I really respect the ambition here, man.
Thank you. I am in no doubt that some of these I name may mysteriously show up again through the magic of Toho Vision and the spellbinding writing of Shigeru Kiyama and Takeshi Kimura, our screenwriters.
I'll shout out Sakizawa as well, screenwriter.
Oh, thank you. Yep.
Sorry.
So I may be forgetting characters, what have you, but that's fine. But
by all means,
I'd just like you to briefly describe their impact, their legacy as solemnly and succinctly as you can, okay?
Okay.
From our first movie, Godzilla, we have Dr. Zerasawa.
Okay. Eye Patch Man.
Eye Patch Man.
He went out bravely. He went out with, I believe, his formula for the oxygen destroyer.
That's right.
He took one for the team. Unfortunately, he also vaporized Godzilla #1.
That was going to be my second one.
Okay.
So Dr. Zerasawa, he turns the whole audience around. You don't trust him to begin with, and then you're applauding him at the end.
It's that Eye Patch Man.
Yeah.
How are you going to...
Yeah.
He just looks so sinister at first.
Our second victim, I don't know if that's the right word, from the movie Godzilla.
Our second loss.
Our second loss, thank you.
Godzilla. Oh, how we barely knew ye. One movie. Who would have thought? Who would have thought
Yeah.
that the Godzilla that we have been following is the second Godzilla?
Yeah.
First Godzilla, man, he did a lot of fucking work. He set the blueprint in place. Badass roar.
Yeah.
Badass incandescent mist.
That's right, the mist, yes.
Just sad that he had to end up as a stack of bones at the bottom of Tokyo Bay.
The founding father. All right, so moving on to Godzilla Raids again.
When we launched into this segment, I only thought of Kobayashi.
Of course you did.
I'm very curious.
Well, before we get
all
there,
could be here.
and I'm not entirely sure if this is accurate, Anguirus.
Okay. He looked pretty definitively dead in that film. So, yeah, I really like Anguirus. I have a lot of fond memories of him from being a kid. Love the design. Ankylosaur. He went out getting mauled, from what I remember, in a lot of very close-up puppet shots and then kind of like thrown against the fortress. Yeah, so badass way to go out, I guess. Went down swinging.
It was entirely uncomfortable to watch those two actors have those fights.
Just throw each other at one another.
Because you knew they were hurting each other. The whole reason we're basically doing this segment.
Okay, this is
Kobayashi.
Yeah, it's a Kobayashi appreciation segment in disguise.
Basically,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah, long live Kobayashi.
Yep.
Heroically, unnecessarily throwing himself and his plane into the ice to bury Godzilla in ice, a result which I think could have very easily been achieved under different circumstances.
Using rational thought. But what is it? What is it that we love about Kobayashi?
I think he hides a very sweet interior below a womanizing, schlubby best friend energy exterior.
I think he's the everyman. He likes a drink. He likes a smoke. He likes a laugh. He likes a song. And, you would want to hang around with Kobayashi. There's a lot to like about him. He's heroic as well. So I think it appeals to us in that, he's the everyman that we can understand and we can get behind.
Doesn't he sweetly buy a birthday present or something for the female lead as well?
Discretion is the better part of valor for Kobayashi. He'll joke, he'll be the center of attention, but his love comes through very humbly and meekly. And I guess also, I don't know if it's just because the movies have changed so much since the first two, but I don't think we're going to see a character that's presented like Kobayashi again.
It's hard to imagine anyone making a bigger sacrifice. Segment over?
No, absolutely not, mate. I mean, barely a quarter of the way through. So I'm not sure we have any in King Kong versus Godzilla. So I'm just going to move on to Mothra versus Godzilla.
Octopus R.I.P.? No, he slithered away into the woods. Never mind.
He slithers away, yeah. Okay, yep. So Mothra versus Godzilla. We have a couple. One I only thought about right now as we kind of started having our conversation. That was the financier. I can't remember the exact character's name, but in the most graphic death, I suppose, possibly, gets shot in the back of the head.
Yeah.
By his business associate. Yeah, any thoughts on that
Good
person?
riddance to bad rubbish.
On the other side of that coin, we do see the death of our first Mothra.
Correct, yeah. I was going to say it if you didn't. We lose our first Imago Mothra. I guess it's robbed of some of its dramatic immediacy because we know I think we're outright told that this is just part of the cycle in that film, that this Mothra is on its way out. We literally start the movie with an egg.
Anytime an egg shows up, you know it's going to open. So it's
Chekhov's egg.
So that second generation doesn't have the best start because in moving on to Ghidorah, the three-headed monster, I think it's in that movie that we hear the tragic news that one of the two sadly doesn't make it, which I really appreciated that knowledge. I think that happens as they're watching Where Are They Now?
Yeah, hats off to the screenwriting there. Very cool that they add a very real moment to the film. Even though we don't see it, it keeps things adult, and if there are kids watching, then it's not danced around too much that one of those cute baby Mothra larvae didn't make it.
Right.
So.
We got a few more, but we can rattle through these.
Okay, let's go.
We have Glenn's love connection, Miss Namikawa, who gets, I don't know, evaporated.
Yeah.
In Invasion of Astro Monster.
Yeah, she loved too hard. But Miss Namikawa was a very fun character, so also kudos to her.
And we got a few here. The Giant Condor, we assume they are dead.
Probably, goes down in a hail of fire and smoke and rocks. Loved it.
If you've ever watched a cartoon where a bird gets like hit with fire and turns into basically a roasted turkey.
It's very Looney Tunes.
The last two from Son of Godzilla, we have a few Kamikuras.
Trio. No, that was a fun kaiju to see.
They fly, they get on fire. I think at one point they dribble like a basketball, the boulders.
Yeah, man, they do a little. I mean, I think we even discussed a few different sports. I saw it as hockey.
Yeah.
Hockey. Yeah, it's good
Yep.
fun. And we will see Kamikuras again.
Yeah.
We know it's a species already. So
our final entrant in this very poignant in memoriam is Kumonga.
Oh.
We're pretty sure they die because they do the typical spider curling up.
Yeah, he's roasted.
Yeah, he's
when
roasted,
we last see him. I was probably pretty cruel to him in our Son of Godzilla episode. I'm going to keep that stance. Spiders are gross. I don't like them. I don't want them near me. Kumonga looked really cool. A feat of puppetry. Mm-hmm. R.I.P. But you gross, dude. Get out of here.
I'd happily see Kumonga again, and I'm pretty sure we will. So last up, Raymond, hopes for our next season. We've watched 8 movies. We're having a chat now. As we've kind of spoken about a few times now, we start with existential dread, and we ended with the slapstick perils and pratfalls of parenting. Mm-hmm. Any hopes or fears for the next batch of movies we watch?
I'm going to be very practical and look at it from the outside. My biggest hope is that the series keeps you interested through some of the lulls that we're going to get to, because I think we will. I mean, it's inevitable in a series this long. So we're going to have to look for the bright patches coming up. So I hope that your interest doesn't wane too much when we get to some of the Monster of the Week entries.
Okay.
I can only promise that there will be more quality on the other side, and there will be stuff to love. I was struggling to find a place to insert this sentiment, but I had the realization today that along with these Godzilla films, I think our podcast show in itself is actually also becoming more refined, more technologically competent.
We've plateaued on the tech front.
yeah. We finally got, a decent sound. So it's been fun to grow in that way, along with the series that we're covering.
Absolutely. Yeah, I would echo those sentiments. I would also echo the kind of... I'm accepting of the fact we're going to get those movies where they are Monster of the Week. I'm hopeful that we'll see characters, human and kaiju, that refresh the franchise like they do in Ghidorah. Mm-hmm. I would love to see more of this kind of Avengers Assemble business where we had Godzilla working with Mothra and Rodan. Mm-hmm. But I'm hoping we don't go to the well too many times. And I always enjoy when it's just a completely batshit insane idea comes out of nowhere, like Son of Zilla, or getting King Kong flying off in balloons. I guess I'm just asking for the unknown, which is a hard thing to ask for. But entertaining unknowns would be really cool to see.
I think we're going to see some weird shit moving forward.
Yeah, that's what I want.
You've got some pleasant surprises in season 2 coming up here too. I'm looking at a list of the movies now, and I see some entries here that I cannot wait to get to.
I have no idea what the next movie is. What is the title for our next one?
Okay, well, I hate to break it to you, but I also told you this at the end of our previous episode. But I'm happy to tell you again, 1968's Destroy All Monsters is what we're coming back with.
Monsters.
I mean, it helps to remind
It
people
does.
and you. We'll be seeing a pretty big clash with a lot of new faces.
That's what I've got. Do you have anything else you'd wish to add, Raymond?
No, man. I think it's been a really pleasant little catch-up discussion. Happy to check in with people during this brief hiatus.
Yeah, the ones that have come and gone, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, okay, so everyone, thank you. I hope you enjoyed this mild diversion from our regular discussions. Quite like these movies, consistency has never been our point. But we would like to thank you for listening as always, and we'd love you to reach out to us via our email, which is geespotpod@gmail.com. And of course, do all the things that people like me and Raymond have to ask you to do: share, like, subscribe, comment, all of that beautiful stuff.
Anything you take the time to do is much, much appreciated, especially considering how much time we put into making these.
Beauty. So the next time you listen to us, we'll be discussing the movie that I definitely know the title of, which is Destroy All Monsters.
Yeah.